She argued, "I only lied because I didn't want to hurt you. That's called love." I said, "That's not love." When her mother read the truth straight from my phone, the hurt on her face said everything she was too cowardly to admit. I, 28 male, just found out my fiancée Natalie, 26, has been lying to me for months. Not just little white lies, a whole fabricated reality. And when I confronted her, she actually said she did it out of love. I'm still processing the audacity. We've been together for 4 years, engaged for 6 months. Wedding planning was in full swing. Her mom, Patricia, was basically co-planning everything with her. They're super close, talk multiple times a day, shopping trips every weekend, the works. 3 months ago, Natalie told me she got promoted at her marketing firm. Big salary bump, corner office, the whole deal. I was thrilled for her. We celebrated with champagne. I posted about how proud I was on social media. She said the new role required occasional travel, maybe once a month. Cool, no problem. Except last week, I decided to surprise her at work with lunch. She'd been stressed with the new responsibilities. Reception had no idea who I was talking about. Checked with HR, Natalie hadn't worked there for 4 months. She was laid off. My brain just stopped. I sat in my car for an hour trying to process. Where had she been going every day? The business trips? The work stories she'd tell me every evening? When she got home that night, at her usual after-work time, I just asked, "How was work?" "Oh, exhausting." Had 3 client meetings back to back. I pulled out the resignation letter I'd gotten from her former HR manager. Which clients? The way her face changed, like watching a mask slip off. She tried to deny it at first, then got angry that I'd invaded her privacy by going to her workplace. When I didn't back down, she finally broke. The truth? She'd been laid off 4 months ago. Too embarrassed to tell me, she'd been leaving the house every day, sitting in coffee shops and the library. The business trips were her visiting her college friend 2 hours away. She'd been using her severance to maintain the illusion, even faking pay stubs. Apparently there are templates online. But here's where it gets worse. When I asked why she didn't just tell me, she said, "I only lied because I didn't want to hurt you. You were so happy about the wedding planning, so proud of me. I couldn't bear to disappoint you." That's called love. Protecting the person you care about from pain. I stared at her. That's not love, that's deception. You don't understand, everything I did was for us. I was protecting our future. By living a lie? By making me look like an idiot to everyone? She kept insisting it was different, and that I'd understand if I really loved her. The manipulation was insane. She'd created this whole fantasy where lying to me for months was some noble sacrifice. I told her I needed space to think. She alternated between crying and getting angry, saying I was overreacting and ruining everything over nothing. I ended up leaving and staying at my brother's place. The next morning I woke up to 73 missed calls, not from Natalie, from Patricia. And about 20 texts variations of "How dare you?" and "We need to talk now, and you're ruining my daughter's life." I didn't respond. But I did make a decision. If Natalie could lie for months and call it love, what else was she lying about? I needed to know everything before I decided anything. Update 1. The entitlement has reached new heights. Buckle up because this gets wild. So Patricia kept bombing my phone. I finally texted back one line. "Natalie lied to me for 4 months. I need time." Her response? She showed up at my brother's apartment. My brother Derek, 25M, answered the door. Patricia pushed past him like she owned the place, found me in the living room and started her tirade. "You think you're so perfect? My daughter protected you from stress during your wedding planning, and this is how you repay her?" My wedding planning? Last I checked, it was supposed to be our wedding. Patricia, she pretended to have a job for months. Because she loves you. She knew you'd try to fix everything, take on more stress. She was handling it herself. By lying? By being strong. This went on for 20 minutes. Every lie was protection, every deception was love, every manipulation was sacrifice. Patricia had completely bought into Natalie's victim narrative, or helped create it. Hard to tell. Then she dropped this gem. "If you call off this wedding, you're paying us back every penny we've spent." Derek actually laughed out loud. "Lady, your daughter conned him for months and you want him to pay?" Patricia turned on him. "This doesn't concern you. You're in my apartment uninvited." It kinda does. She threatened to sue me for emotional damages to Natalie, for breach of promise, for the wedding costs, even for the promotion party dinner we had 3 months ago. The delusion was staggering. I stayed calm and just said, "Patricia, please leave. Any further communication can go through lawyers if necessary." She stomped out, but not before saying, "You'll regret this. Natalie deserves better than someone who abandons her at the first problem." First problem? 4 months of lies is the first problem? But I wasn't done learning about the extent of the deception. After Patricia left, I did something I'd never done before. I went through our joint Google Photos account. We shared one for wedding planning stuff. And boy, did I find things. Remember those business trips? There were photos, but not conference rooms and hotels, beaches, wineries, shopping trips, all geotagged at her friend's city, all during times she was supposedly at important client meetings. But that wasn't even the worst part. In some of the photos, there was a guy, same guy appearing multiple times, arm around her in one, cozy dinner table for two in another. I didn't jump to conclusions, but I needed answers, so I did what any rational person would do. I reached out to her coworker, former coworker I guess, who I'd met at a few company events. The truth came flooding out. Not only was Natalie laid off, she was fired for expense fraud. She'd been submitting fake receipts, claiming personal lunches as client meetings. The company gave her the option to resign quietly instead of pressing charges. My fiancé, who'd been lecturing me about protecting each other, was literally a white-collar criminal. Oh, and the guy in the photos? That's her friend's brother. According to the coworker, there were rumors about them before she got fired, but nothing confirmed. I sat there staring at my phone, realizing I was engaged to someone I didn't know at all. 4 years together, and she was a complete stranger. That's when Natalie started texting. "Mom told me what happened. Why are you being so cruel? I made one mistake trying to protect you. You're throwing away 4 years over nothing. If you loved me, you'd understand. This is your fault for not making me feel safe enough to tell you." That last one. That's when I knew I was done. She'd managed to make her 4-month con job my fault. I didn't respond, but I did start making some calls. Starting with the wedding venue. Update 2. Remember how I said the entitlement reached new heights? I was wrong. It went stratospheric. First, the practical stuff. I called every wedding vendor we'd booked. Since I was listed as the primary contact on most, I'm more organized, so I handled the logistics. I was able to cancel almost everything. Lost some deposits, but better than losing my sanity in a marriage built on lies. The venue was understanding when I explained the situation, vaguely. The caterer refunded 80% since it was still 2 months out. The photographer was cool about it. The only real fight was the dress. Patricia had put that deposit down, so I couldn't touch it. Whatever. I also separated our finances. We didn't have joint accounts, thank God, but I removed her as an authorized user on my credit card and changed all my passwords. Basic protection. Then I texted Natalie that her stuff would be in boxes in my apartment building's lobby on Saturday at 2 p.m. She could collect it then. I wouldn't be there. This triggered what I can only describe as an extinction burst of epic proportions. First came the love bombing. Flowers delivered to my office, Uber Eats orders sent to my brother's place. How did she even know I was ordering Thai food that night? A literal singing telegram, I'm not making this up, showed up at my job with a ukulele to sing our song. My coworkers still haven't let me live that down. When that didn't work, the guilt trip started. Long emails about our beautiful memories and how I was destroying something perfect over pride. She enlisted her friends to message me about how devastated she was, how she couldn't eat or sleep, how I was killing her slowly. But the real escalation came on moving day Saturday. I'd asked Derek to handle the box exchange while I stayed away. He texted me at 2:15, "Dude, she brought an army." It wasn't just Natalie and Patricia, it was Patricia's sister, 2 cousins, Natalie's best friend, and 3 other people I didn't even recognize. They weren't there to collect boxes. They were there to storm the apartment. Derek, bless him, had locked the building's lobby door after putting the boxes out. They couldn't get in, so they did the next logical thing, in their minds. They called the police. Yep, they claimed I was illegally evicting Natalie and stealing her property. The cops showed up. Derek explained the situation, showed them texts proving Natalie had agreed to collect her things, and pointed to the literal pile of boxes in the lobby. The officers basically told Natalie's crew to take the boxes and leave. But Patricia wasn't done. She started FB living the whole thing, narrating how I was abusing her daughter, how the police were enabling me, how this was discrimination against women. The video went semi-viral in our local community groups. I started getting messages from random people calling me an abuser, a manipulator, a narcissist. Someone found my LinkedIn and messaged my boss about my domestic violence. Thankfully, my boss knows me well enough to see through the BS, but still. Then came the masterstroke of delusion. Natalie texted me, "I saw what you did with the wedding. You had no right to cancel anything without consulting me. I'm calling the vendors to reinstate everything. This is just a rough patch." A rough patch? Girl, you lied about having a job, got fired for fraud, and possibly cheated. That's not a patch, that's a whole-ass sinkhole. But I was curious, so I called the venue. Turns out Natalie had indeed called them and told them I was having a mental health crisis and that she needed to protect the wedding from my temporary instability. She'd tried to put down a new deposit with a credit card. It was declined. She'd called every vendor with the same story. Mental health crisis, temporary instability, need to protect our future. The pattern was clear. Everything was protection. Every lie, every manipulation, she was just protecting someone. Protecting me from stress, protecting our relationship from reality, protecting our wedding from my crisis. That night, I did something petty. Maybe I shouldn't have, but I was exhausted. I posted on social media. Nothing dramatic, just, wedding is off. Sometimes you discover the person you thought you knew never existed. Grateful for the friends and family who've supported me through this difficult time. Simple, clean, factual. The explosion was immediate. Natalie called me 31 times in an hour. Patricia sent a voice message that was just her screaming for 2 minutes straight. The flying monkeys descended en masse. But here's the thing. Some people started reaching out privately. Mutual friends saying they'd always felt something was off with Natalie. Her cousin messaging that, "This explains so much." Apparently, I wasn't her first victim, just her longest running one. Then Sunday night, I got a text from an unknown number. "Hi, this is Josh. I think I'm the guy in the photos with your ex. We should talk." Update 3, I met Josh for coffee. Turns out he had no idea Natalie was engaged. She'd told him she was recently single and focusing on her career. They'd been hanging out for 2 months, and yes, it was definitely romantic. Not physical, he claims, and I believe him, but emotional for sure. Dates, deep conversations, future planning. When I showed him her social media with our engagement photos, the dude went pale. He showed me their text threads. She'd been texting him while texting me. Literally would send me "Good night baby, love you," and then text him, "Can't wait to see you this weekend." Josh was pissed. He confronted her immediately, and she pulled the same routine. "I was protecting you from complicated feelings. I didn't want to hurt you. This is love." He blocked her on everything and apologized to me profusely. Honestly, I felt bad for the guy. We were both victims of the same con artist. But the real drama was yet to come. Monday morning, I got a call from my apartment building manager. Natalie had shown up claiming to be locked out of her apartment. When they checked their records and saw only my name on the lease, she caused a scene. Security had to escort her out. Then I got a call from my bank. Someone had tried to access my account claiming to be me, saying I'd forgotten my password. The security questions they'd failed? Yeah, that someone knew my mother's maiden name and my first pet's name. Wonder who that could be. But the piece de resistance came Tuesday evening. Patricia showed up at my actual apartment. Derek's place was no longer secret, apparently. But this time, she wasn't alone, and she wasn't angry. She was crying. "Can I please just talk to you? Just 5 minutes?" Against my better judgment, I let her in. She sat on my couch and pulled out her phone. "I need you to see something." It was text messages between her and Natalie, recent ones, where Natalie was bragging about Josh, about how she was trading up, about how she'd been settling with me anyway. But the kicker? Messages from before she got fired, about how she was working on a big score at the office, how she'd found a way to make extra money from those idiots. Patricia's hands were shaking. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know about any of this. She scrolled more. Messages where Natalie called me her safety net, her backup plan, her retirement fund. Messages laughing about how I believed her promotion lie. Messages about Josh being marriage material, while I was just comfortable. She left her phone unlocked when she went to shower. "I just wanted to understand why you were being so cruel. I never thought, I never imagined." The look on Patricia's face, it wasn't anger or denial anymore. It was devastation. The realization that her daughter wasn't who she thought she was. But then Patricia said something that shocked me. I need to ask you something. The expense fraud at her company, was there more? I showed her what the coworker had told me. Patricia closed her eyes and whispered, "Oh God." Turns out money had been going missing from Patricia's account. Small amounts she'd attributed to forgetting purchases or bank errors. But now she was connecting dots. Natalie had access to her cards for wedding shopping. We sat there in silence for a minute. Then Patricia asked, "Can I see all of it? Everything you found out? I need to know the whole truth." So I showed her. The photos with Josh, the lies about business trips, the co-workers' messages about the fraud, the pattern of deception. She was crying quietly by the end. I raised her better than this. I don't understand where I went wrong. I didn't comfort her. Wasn't my job anymore. But I did say, this isn't your fault. She made these choices. Patricia left, but not before saying, "I'm sorry. For everything. For showing up here before. For defending her. For raising someone capable of this." I thought that would be the end of it. Patricia would confront Natalie. There'd be family drama, but it would be their problem, not mine. I was wrong. Because Wednesday morning, Natalie sent a text that made everything else look tame. "You showed my mom those messages? You turned her against me? You've destroyed my life. I'm pregnant and now I have nowhere to go." Final update. Plot twist. She wasn't pregnant. Shocked? Yeah, me neither. After that bombshell text, I didn't respond. But I did forward it to Patricia with one question. "Is this true?" Patricia called me within minutes. "She's not pregnant. I took her to the doctor myself to confirm. She's been saying this to everyone. Josh, her friends, even her cousins. It's all lies." The pregnancy was Natalie's nuclear option. When I didn't respond to her announcement, she escalated. Posted on social media about how her ex-fiancé abandoned her while carrying his child. Tagged me, tagged my family, tagged my employer. The comments were brutal, calling me deadbeat, monster, abuser. Some saint even started a GoFundMe for the abandoned pregnant bride. It raised $400 before Patricia commented, "My daughter is not pregnant. I have medical proof. Please stop enabling her lies." The meltdown was spectacular. Natalie turned on her own mother, accusing her of jealousy, of betrayal, of choosing him over your own daughter. She posted screenshots of Patricia's comment with captions about toxic mothers and family betrayal. But Patricia had reached her limit. She did something I never expected. She went full nuclear herself. She posted her own statement, with receipts. The text messages where Natalie called me her safety net. The ones about trading up with Josh. The admission about expense fraud. Even security footage from her home showing Natalie using her credit cards without permission. I love my daughter, but I cannot enable her anymore. She needs help, not enablers. To everyone she's hurt, I'm sorry. The GoFundMe was shut down within hours. People who donated demanded refunds. The narrative shifted completely. Suddenly, I wasn't the villain. I was the victim who'd narrowly escaped. Josh reached out one more time. "Bro, she showed up at my job claiming to be pregnant with my kid now. Security removed her. I'm getting a restraining order. You should too." I took his advice. Filed for a restraining order with all the evidence. The harassment, the false pregnancy claims, the attempt to access my bank, the social media defamation. It was granted temporarily, pending a hearing. The hearing was something. Natalie showed up looking like she'd stepped out of a fashion magazine. Perfect hair, designer dress, full makeup, playing the victim to the judge, until the judge saw the evidence, all of it. The months of lies, the fraud, the fake pregnancy, the harassment. Natalie tried one last manipulation. "Your Honor, I only lied because I loved him so much. I was protecting our relationship. That's what you do for love." The judge's response, "No, miss, that's what you do for control." Restraining order granted. 1 year, no contact. As we left the courthouse, Natalie was crying to her lawyer about the injustice. Her lawyer looked exhausted. I almost felt bad for him. Almost. Patricia caught up with me in the parking lot. She looked older, tired. "I'm sorry," she said again. "I'm getting her help. Therapy. Whether she wants it or not." I nodded. Wasn't my problem anymore. It's been a month since the restraining order. Life is quiet, peaceful. I'm in therapy myself, working through the mindfuck of loving someone who never existed. My therapist says I dodged a bullet. Feels more like I dodged a nuclear missile. The wedding vendors were understanding about the situation. Some even refunded deposits they didn't have to. The venue coordinator sent a card saying she was glad I found out before the wedding. A Apparently, I'm not the first groom she's seen in this situation. My friends and family have been incredible. Derek hasn't stopped making jokes about my single era. My mom sent Natalie's mom a sympathy card, which was either sweet or savage. Jury's still out. And dating? Not even on my radar. I need to figure out how I missed the red flags. How I loved someone who saw me as a retirement fund. How I almost married a stranger. But I did learn something. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. When they lie out of love, that's not love. That's manipulation. When they protect you from reality, they're protecting themselves from consequences. Love isn't deception. Love isn't control. Love isn't treating someone like a safety net while shopping for upgrades. Love is trust, honesty, respect, partnership, everything Natalie wasn't. So yeah, I'm single. My wedding fund is now my therapy and vacation fund. My apartment is peaceful. My credit card isn't funding someone else's fantasy life. And Natalie, last I heard from mutual friends, she's living with Patricia, working retail, and telling anyone who will listen that she's the victim of a narcissistic ex who ruined her life. But here's the thing. I don't care anymore. She's not my problem. Her lies aren't my responsibility. Her consequences aren't my fault. She argued that lying was love. She was wrong. This, walking away, rebuilding, choosing truth over comfortable lies, this is love. Self-love. And honestly, it feels pretty damn good.